It's a mini episode for you.
And I hope you enjoy it.
It's a little slice of podcast fun.
That you could put in your hip pocket. Damn it.
Ah, almost. Almost.
Almost.
Who are you?
I'm Nathan.
I'm Brendan.
I've recovered too.
Oh, man. Man, oh, man. Last week was a toughie.
Right?
But we talked about Postal last week. Thankfully, we're not talking about Postal this week. Let's never talk about Postal again.
Right.
This is a little episode.
It's a tiny one.
Little
Little.
pocket.
Yep.
Your hip pocket, as you said earlier.
As I said earlier, yeah.
But since this is,
Didn't
well, I
hit
mean, I
the
guess
rhyming scheme, but it definitely drove home. You know.
with a sledgehammer.
Right.
Yeah. Triple H wrestling reference. Boom. Just said his name.
Time to play the game.
But Nathan, we have kind of two topics here. I guess we're kind of gonna discuss this week.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is something that you brought up. Why don't you tell the folks what we're talking about first?
Well, once my cat starts jumping around, we're talking about...
We're talking about Nathan's cat and how adorable it is.
and also lethal.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we're talking about movies where one or two things happen. One, we didn't see it coming, as in, we thought it was going to be really, really good, and it sucked so much. Or everybody around us was losing their mind over this particular movie, and we did not buy into the hype because we were like, this is going to be terrible, and we ended up being right.
Mm-hmm. So my answer is Postal for everything. Damn it, I talked about it. Let's talk about kind of disasters we saw coming. I'm gonna have to rack my brain for this. I don't have a whole lot of examples for this, but I've got one for me anyway. A lot of people around me were excited about this movie that I was totally not into at all.
Okay.
And that would be Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. Because this is a movie where it was, I believe at this time, Man of Steel had come out.
Yes.
And I think that was the only DC movie in this universe that had come out at that point. I think, yeah, because Suicide Squad was later.
Right.
So I believe this was the second one in that universe. And so Man of Steel was met with, like, mixed reviews. Like, it wasn't hated on.
But there were a lot of people complained about, like, the dark tone.
Yeah.
And the inconsistencies with Superman's personality or character.
Right. It didn't receive universal praise, but it also didn't receive universal disdain.
Right. It was greeted with a hearty meh.
But with Batman vs. Superman, even when the casting choices came up, like Ben Affleck as Batman, which people were, like, not on board with, which I actually think is one of the better parts of the movie, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesse Eisenberg being in it, people were like, what the hell? But most people I know were pretty stoked, because they were like, Batman and Superman in a movie together, awesome. And I was like, nope, not into this one bit. not excited for this at all. And, of course, it was a dumpster fire.
The reason why people were so excited about Batman vs. Superman is because it's something that the DC fans have been clamoring for years. Right? Because there's a whole storied lineage between Batman and Superman within the DC universe that would make for some fantastic film.
Yeah.
They decided not to do any of that and went with what they did. But it's a movie that's been put out to be possibly being made for decades. Like since the 80s, I remember people talking about possibly a Batman versus Superman movie, especially after the Tim Burton Batman got released.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, you've had 2 solid outings, at least, from both franchises. I mean, you had the first 2 Christopher Reeves Superman movies. So we know that hero can be made into a movie and people will like it. The movie will be good. Tim Burton released the Michael Keaton Batman movie, which everyone really, really liked. So it's like, okay, groundwork's there. We know that both of these characters can carry their own movie. We know that people are going to turn out to like them, and we know that people can make good movies about them. So, when are we going to get Batman and Superman in the same movie? The answer was 30 years later, and everyone was disappointed by it.
Yeah, well, 2 words, Zack Snyder.
Well, yeah, that's fair. I think the problem with Batman versus Superman, and this would have been an issue that would have come up regardless of who covered it. Okay, so I'm not fully placing all the blame at the feet of Zack Snyder, because the 2 characters are so tonally different in comic books and even in the movies that have been made about them, that it would be hard to get those 2 to kind of mesh in a way where you're not playing too much to one side or the other. And with Zack Snyder, he was like, well, you know what? Batman's dark, so we're going to make everything as dark as possible.
Batman's going to shoot people with guns. Yeah, that movie sucked. So what about you? What about something that everybody was excited for, and you were like, The one I can think of, the one that springs to mind the most recently, is The Meg. Because I remember when the movie was coming out, a lot of people, especially in my group of friends who know that I like to watch kind of trash movies, were like, you're going to love this movie. It's going to be so good. Jason Statham's in it. There's a killer shark. It's a giant killer shark. It's going to be great. And I was like, I have no interest in seeing this movie. I don't think it's going to be good.
Yeah. I don't think it'll be entertaining or fun. And from my understanding, because I haven't seen it, I was right.
It was, here's the thing. I don't think I expected it to be, like, a great movie. But I thought it was going to be, like you said, I thought it was going to be entertaining and fun and at least dumb and schlocky. Kind of like a Deep Blue Sea type deal.
Okay.
But it wasn't even that. It was just there. It was just dull.
Yeah.
Even like when they covered it on, another podcast, a more famous bad movie podcast, they said that, it was just disappointing in terms of, like, they thought it was going to be a fun movie to talk about, and it was kind of just like, eh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of it stemmed from the fact that I've no real interest in shark movies to begin with.
Aside from Jaws?
Aside from Jaws. Jaws was the one time where I was like, okay, they did that so right.
Jaws is almost a perfect movie. Like, basically.
But everything that's come after is like, okay, but Jaws. Mm-hmm. I've seen Jaws.
Yeah.
I know how to defeat a killer shark. I don't go in the ocean. I let it starve because it's not going to kill me because I don't go in the ocean.
Right.
Not a hard thing to avoid. There's not a whole lot of fear for me as far as killer sharks go.
Yeah. As long as you got Richard Dreyfuss and Robert Shaw, you're good.
Right. Or Sam Jackson to be bait.
The most hilarious bait. I will tell you disasters I didn't expect.
Okay.
So, this is a movie that, weirdly enough, I expected Batman vs. Superman. I didn't expect Suicide Squad to be bad.
Yeah?
I will admit I fell for the trailer that used, good rock music to get me amped. Kind of like how they did with Guardians of the Galaxy. Actually, arguably, they ripped that off of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes, 100%.
100%. Even James Gunn, I remember at the time, saying something like, this looks familiar. So, I mean, Yeah, I fell for the trap. I also saw, like, Will Smith, Margot Robbie, like, I even thought, Jared Leto as the Joker was an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Just everything coming together, and yep, it was terrible, as you can hear all about on our previous episode.
I don't know what you're talking about. I had a fun time watching it.
You did you?
I did. But I think my pleasure from watching Suicide Squad was after hearing everybody lose their mind about how awful it was.
Yeah.
As I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, this is the part that pissed them off. Oh, this is great.
And I'm not even a comic book person, so it's not even like, oh, they did that wrong, or oh, they did this wrong. I just didn't like it.
Understandable.
Especially Jared Leto. God damn it.
Movies. Okay, here's one that I didn't see coming. I was in, fool me once, shame on me. Or shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, whatever that goes. Silent Hill.
Okay.
I was a big fan of the video game, and it's a horror movie, so when it was coming out, I was like, okay, the game's a horror survival game, and the movie's going to be a horror movie, so even though it's based on a video game, which has not had a good track record, okay,
yeah,
they're not doing Super Mario Brothers, they're not trying to find a way to make something like that, it's going to be easy for them to make a movie like this. I mean, the thing is a movie. You play through this movie. Essentially, you go to different places, you solve puzzles, you make decisions. It helps drive the characters forward. Easy. That movie was fucking terrible. It's the only movie that I seriously contemplated walking out of. I've never walked out of a movie, but that was the closest I ever came.
Without getting too specific, because I mean that sounds like it could come up on this show at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't really remember it that much. I don't remember. I definitely don't remember hating it or disliking it. Just kind of being neutral to it. What's the thing that makes it so bad? Because you've definitely talked about it before.
Well, there's a lot of things about it, but I think the thing that bothers me the most is that when I went to go see it, I had played through Silent Hill a couple times when it was on the PlayStation, and so I knew how the story went. I knew the characters that I'd be looking for. I knew the events that I would be watching for, and I didn't get that. I got so the game you play as a guy who's trying to find his daughter who's lost in this town that he's trapped in. Okay? And he doesn't know kind of what's going on at first. Of course, he's looking for her, and then at one point, the reality starts to shift, and he goes into the nightmare scape of Silent Hill. And at one point he befriends a cop. That they did keep that, but
they changed it to a female.
To the mom.
Yeah, which is fine.
Fine.
Yeah.
But the way they start the fucking movie, I knew right away that I was going to be in for a rough time. Because in the game, you start off, you're just driving, and you get into the car accident, which gets you stuck in Silent Hill. Okay? Perfect. In this movie, we're treated to some kid sleepwalking, and her parents, running out to get her and kind of rouse her from her sleepwalking, and as they're trying to shake her awake or wake her up, she starts screaming Silent Hill over and over and over again. I'm like, fucking really? Although I will say the effects for Triangle Head or Pyramid Head were pretty cool.
So you're saying Silent Hill is a good movie? Recommend it to everyone.
Yeah. Although it's better than the sequel.
You know what it's better than?
Postal.
Yep.
100%. I would watch Silent Hill 5 more times in a row.
Sober
before I had to watch Postal again.
Fuck. If that doesn't tell you how bad that movie is, nothing will.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I actually, one that I didn't see coming, I don't think I saw it in the theater. I think I saw it, like, when it was out on, like, VHS or something, like, a year or two later. But I was young enough to not really know about, like, you know, reviews and critics and stuff, right? So I just thought, oh, this looks friggin' amazing. And I'm talking about 1998's Godzilla.
Oh.
So I'm watching this as a child, as like an early teenager, I guess, and I'm just like, why is Godzilla taking so long to come into this movie? And how come he's gone already? And how come all these people are so horrible? Like, I didn't care about anyone. Even as like a younger person watching the movie, I'm like, I don't care about any of these characters.
Well, that's, in fairness, that's not your fault. It's actually a trap that a lot of people fall into when going to see a Godzilla or any kaiju movie. They're expecting that monster by the bucketful constantly, and that's never the case. Because even though you know what Godzilla looks like, or he's supposed to look like, because he doesn't look like that in that movie, they always do the slow reveal. There's always something where it's like you're not going to see him for maybe, you'll get a glimpse at the first, maybe. More often than not, though, you're going to see him about maybe 20 minutes, half an hour into the movie.
Yeah.
Because they're going to set up all the people drama.
Yeah, no, and I get that, but the people drama in that movie is so terrible.
Yes.
Like, it's got horrible writing. Like, that movie is terrible. I don't know. I really don't like that Godzilla movie. Also, Matthew Broderick, I'm sorry. I like Matthew Broderick, but no, bad casting.
You want a hot take? A real hot fucking take?
Do you like that movie?
I liked it better than Shin Godzilla.
Oh, shit!
I had a better time watching 1998 Roland Emmerich's Godzilla than I did watching Shin Godzilla.
Ugh.
You know why I know that? Because I never fell asleep once watching the 98 Godzilla, and it took me 3 fucking tries to get through Shin Godzilla, because I kept falling asleep. That movie is so dry.
Well, okay. I don't really have any more for those. Do you have any more?
I do. I'm going to harken back to my childhood on this one. And you might be come at me, bro, on this one.
Oh, boy.
But a movie that I thought was going to be really good as a kid, I thought was going to be really, really good. And then when I saw, again, as a kid, and was like, what the fuck is this? Masters of the Universe. I was so hopeful for that movie when I was a kid, because I loved the cartoon. And then when I saw like the trailers and stuff on TV, you see Dolph Lundgren looking a lot like He-Man, Frank Langella in the Skeletor makeup, looking really good for, practical effects, live action Skeletor. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be really, really good. And it was really, really terrible for me as a kid. I can watch it now. Fun fact, because it's a super fun fact.
Because it's a fun fact.
Fun fact. I watched Masters of the Universe to cleanse my palate after I watched Postal. That's what I was doing when we were messaging, and you're like, oh, what can we do possibly for the mini episode? And I'm watching Masters of the Universe, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I remember when this movie came out and how terrible it was, and I thought it was going to be so good. And that's why I thought of that. Like, and now I can watch Masters of the Universe and have a great time watching it because it's a canon film. It's so poorly made that
did you at least have your sexual awakening with young Courtney Cox?
No, I thought we covered this before.
Well, I think you said your ebony sexual awakening.
Oh, okay.
Was Jack A.
It was Jack A.
Yeah. Jack A, star of that
227.
movie. What?
227.
What's that soccer movie with Rodney Dangerfield?
Oh, Ladybugs.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you want to talk about movies that haven't aged well? Oh, boy.
That movie was That movie was bad when it first came out.
But, like,
it was socially unacceptable when it was first released.
True. There's a pedophile joke totally played for laughs.
Right.
Yep.
Just like Uwe.
I'll argue that the jokes in Ladybug are less offensive, though.
Okay.
No, I would just randomly now, guys. If you want to see the archetype of a movie that doesn't age well, definitely watch Ladybugs. like Nathan said, it wasn't acceptable at the time, even less so now.
Yes.
Like ridiculously less so.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, shall we talk about the year that was 2018?
Yes, let's.
We're just gonna run down some of our favorite and maybe least favorite movies that we watched in the theaters this year.
Oh, I got a couple of least favorites, I can tell you.
Okay. Well, why don't we talk about good ones first? We get those out of the way.
Okay.
So we can talk about the shitty ones.
So I'm gonna start with the best of the best that I saw in theaters this year, and that would be Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Loved that movie. So much good stuff going on in that movie. It is easily one of the best Spider-Man movies I've ever seen.
Yep.
The story is great.
Almost as good as Spider-Man 3. I agree.
Oh, you motherfucker. The only thing that was a detractor for me was the character design of Spider-Ham.
Oh, you didn't like that?
No. And for the simple reason that I read Spider-Ham comics when I was a kid in the 80s. So the character design from Spider-Ham comics is different, considerably different than the one that they used in the movie. So if they had modeled the character more like the one from the comic books, I would say perfect Spider-Man movie, best thing I've ever seen ever, and would have loved it.
I did like that character though; like it was very funny.
Oh, he was very funny,
and John Mulaney was pretty perfect.
Perfect. Yeah. In fact, the voice casting for that movie could not have been more on point.
Guys, Nicolas Cage
as Spider-Man Noir.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
It's everything you didn't realize you needed.
And the movie came out of nowhere too. Like I wanted to see
like an RKO.
Hey,
man, it would have been great if RKO had released it.
Rated R KO. So would you say that is your favorite of the year?
Yes, 100%. On Rotten Tomatoes.
I would say that my favorite of the year. Now I'm struggling between two titles, so you know what? I'm just gonna. I'll go. Okay, I'll say my favorite of the year is a little movie directed by a guy who I didn't think had a good movie in him anymore, and that would be Mr. Spike Lee.
Okay.
Director of 2018 film Black Klansman.
I still have yet to see it, and I've heard nothing but good things.
Is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. It looks like a movie also that could have been made in the 70s.
Okay.
Obviously, it takes place It's a doesn't it's not a modern film. It takes place in the 70s or the 60s, I think.
Oh,
but
actually, scratch that. I've heard nothing but good things about it, except from Boots Riley.
What?
Boots Riley, the guy who
He doesn't like it?
He didn't care for it, apparently.
Okay.
But in fairness, he's very anti-establishment. And
Okay.
I think he feels that the Spike Lee movies at this point are acceptable anti-establishment, which he does not find acceptable at all. If that makes sense.
I do want to see his movie too. So.
I do. I have yet to see on VOD or anywheres, so I am looking forward to seeing it.
Spike Lee has friends. Don't fuck with him, Boots Riley. But yeah, BlacKkKlansman. Actually, do you mind if I just run down my top 10 real quick?
Go right ahead, because you've seen way more movies in theaters than I did this year.
I have seen 103. So I'll go down from BlacKkKlansman like in order of like the best to worst. But I mean, these are all going to be great because they're my top 10.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say BlacKkKlansman at the top. Widows. Avengers Infinity War. That's right, number 3. Hereditary, which we talked about on here before.
Mm-hmm.
A Star is Born.
Okay.
Mission Impossible Fallout. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Black Panther. Paddington 2. That's right.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yes. Back in the Habit. And at number 10, I would put Annihilation.
I haven't seen that.
Paddington 2 sounds like it's kind of a weird choice. That is honestly one of the best movies of the year. It is so wonderful.
Okay.
It just makes you feel good.
Well, I will say, I'll agree with you on Avengers. I really, really like that.
I know you liked Hereditary, but you had issues as well.
It was the ending for me. Just because it was so, I don't know. They doubled down on everything being crazy.
Yeah.
And just like, supernatural stuff is real. Other movies that I've seen in theaters that I really, really enjoyed, but I don't think are going to get the lovin'. Happy Time Murders.
Yeah.
But I'm a little biased. I like the Muppets, and the fact that it gets profaned is delightful to me. Mm-hmm. Death Wish, which I know you didn't care for.
Not particularly, but that's all right.
Yeah. Deadpool 2.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Yeah, very, like, that was quite surprised at how the heart in that movie, which is just hiding behind all the the Deadpool stuff.
Yeah.
Josh Brolin trying to save his wife and kid, and Deadpool trying to stop a kid from becoming a murderer and all this stuff. So
Josh Brolin, by the way, killing it lately.
Oh yeah, just crushing it.
Yeah.
What was the other one?
He's thrashing it.
Right?
Ah!
He makes that great acting look like a snap.
Hey.
Hey. Rampage. Oh my god, I loved Rampage. So much fun. So much fun. So now we've talked about the good stuff.
Yeah, let's get that out of the way. Let's talk about the shitty stuff.
Truth or Dare?
Oh my god! That was the worst!
The worst movie.
So awful.
I'd still watch it 3 more times before I watch Postal again.
Well, Truth or Dare. Do I dare say this? Coming soon.
I would be more than glad to, because you know what? I will at least legitimately laugh.
It is one of the stupidest movies in a while.
When I watched Postal and we had to talk about it, it was like The Day the Clown Cried, but in my heart.
Wait, the unfinished Jerry Lewis movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
But moving on.
Yeah, so Truth or Dare, 5 stars.
Fuck. What else have I watched? Like, just...
The Nun used to, what too big on.
Yeah. I was I was let down by that actually because I do like the Conjuring universe, the movies that are that contained within. I don't feel like I got what was I was hoping for out of that movie.
Yeah.
Because they're explaining more on the Valak character from The Conjuring 2. So I was kind of hoping there'd be more nods to why that particular demon is, kind of chasing down Ed and Lorraine Warren. So, and the only thing I got of that was speculation. I when we went to see it, Cheyenne was like, she thought that Vera Farmiga's sister, who was in The Nun, was playing a younger version of the Vera Farmiga character.
So did I.
Yeah. So I said, Cheyenne, I said, no, they're different. And I was expecting it to be some weird swerve where it was like, oh, it's Lorraine Warren's mom or her sister or cousin or something like that, but nothing. And because she looks so much like her, because they're sisters, obviously, the only thing I could come up with is that the reason why the Valak demon is going to have such a hard-on for Lorraine Warren and her family is because it's mistaking her for the character her sister played in The Nun.
Yeah, I guess that has to be it, right?
None of it's confirmed, but that's just the only reason why I can think of why she would be, such a hate-on for Vera Farmiga.
The only thing I liked in that movie was that French dude.
Yeah. And that was it. When they introduced him, I don't know if I might have been the only one in the theater who clued in right away.
Oh,
but
yeah, no, I didn't at all.
The whole thing was like, this is a really long setup for a small tie-in. Because the movie's like an hour and a half, hour 45 or something like that. And the payoff is, the French guy from this movie, he's the French guy that they're kind of talking about at the first Conjuring movie.
It's not worth the trip.
Right.
Yeah. Do you want me to run down my bottom 10?
You go right ahead.
I'll start with some dishonorable mentions. How about that?
There you go.
So I will also put The Nun in that category of, like, not the 10 worst, but definitely, like, close to it. Mm-hmm. Winchester was another one I really didn't care for.
That movie was garbage.
Yeah, really boring and just...
I was hoping more for that one.
Helen Mirren doing her best, but that's it.
Mm-hmm.
12 Strong was a pretty shitty, like, war movie. And the other two I will say for dishonorable mentions is Hellfest, which basically could have been released in 1997. No one would have known the difference. Because it's just a stupid slasher movie with no purpose at all.
Okay.
And Robin Hood, which was terrible as well.
Oh, yeah, the King Arthur...
That's a disaster I saw coming that everyone else did too. So bottom 10, going from least worst to worst. A Wrinkle in Time, Truth or Dare, The Predator.
Aww.
Awful. Just awful. Especially considering who was involved. Actually, I would put that in a disaster I didn't see coming. Because I thought Shane Black and the cast that he had would have made for a great movie. And
well, also given the fact that he was
terrible.
In the first Predator movie, too.
Yeah, just awful. So. The Hurricane Heist.
Now, Brendan, we're talking about the worst movies.
Yes,
that
correct.
movie was delightful. I had so much fun watching that movie.
It's terrible, though.
Oh, yeah, it's awful.
Pacific Rim 2 was boring as fuck.
Right there, did not see that coming because I really enjoyed the first one.
See, the red flag for me, though, was no Guillermo del Toro. And January, I think, is when it came out, or February.
Yeah. But there was a lot of, like, he was originally on board, so, and doesn't he have, like, an executive producer credit or something on it?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean much.
Still feel like, you know, as long as he's still attached in some way, shape, or form, for me, it leads me to think, okay, it won't get too far off the rails.
Executive producer could also, though, literally mean the guy made the first one, so they're giving him money for this one, even though he's not doing anything.
Mm.
But coming up next is Show Dogs, talking dog movie.
Yeah.
Action Point, garbage to the nth degree. I didn't laugh at one single joke. We're getting to the nitty gritty here. Number 3. These are the bottom 3 here. God's Not Dead 3, which I saw for some reason. Number 2, Slender Man.
Oh, Jesus.
Just the worst. And the worst movie of the year, holding strong since near the beginning of the year, The 1517 to Paris.
Oh, fuck.
Not an actor to be seen.
Yeah.
Except for poor Jenna Fisher.
You know, Brandon.
Yeah.
I know you work at the movies.
Yeah.
And you get to go to the movies for free.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you can go to the movies doesn't mean you have to go to the movies.
But I must.
But I mean, if you see something like, you know what? You look at Slender Man, you're like, that's gonna be terrible. I'm not going to see that.
But it was more like, that's gonna be terrible. I have time to kill.
Okay, fine. You could probably derive some enjoyment out of that.
I did not.
All right, fine, but there's still the possibility there.
Yeah.
I see God's Not Dead 3. I'm like, no.
Okay, to be fair, I went with I went with former guest on the show, multiple time guest, and extreme sports expert Jerica.
Yeah.
I think. Oh no, I saw God's Not Dead 2 with her. Never mind. Who did I see God's Not Dead? I might have seen God's Not Dead 3 by myself.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
You know what?
Oh no, I didn't. I didn't. I take that back. I did see it with a friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's real.
There's been a few movies that I've gone to see alone, but it's because I want to see that movie. I don't give a shit. I'm going to see it.
Okay, most of the time when there's a movie that I see alone, it's usually not because I want to see it. It's usually because no one else wants to see it. It's because everyone else is like, why? And I'm like, all right, I guess I'm going to.
It's like I saw Kids in the Hall Brain Candy by myself.
Yeah.
Because nobody wanted to go see that movie with me.
Well, they're dumb.
Right?
Yeah. But anyway, that's... any other turds you want to point out for the year?
No, I don't have the... the job I have doesn't afford me the ability to go to the movies whenever I want to.
Yeah.
So I really pick my shots a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. The only time anything kind of gets through the net and I have a disaster of a time is either when I have to watch it for the podcast, mm-hmm. or I'm catching it after it's been on like Netflix or like the movie channels or something like that.
Truth or Dare.
I saw that at the drive-in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, paired with what?
Jurassic World.
Okay.
Fallen Kingdom.
I like that movie.
Yeah.
You got one good movie out of it?
Yep. Oh, I knew that I was probably going to not like Truth or Dare.
Yeah.
Because I even told, because Cheyenne and one of her friends went with us, and I was like, it's probably not going to be very good, guys.
We should say Blumhouse's Truth or Dare.
Yes. Not Madonna's Truth or Dare, Blumhouse's Truth or Dare.
Yeah, Madonna's Truth or Dare is a better movie.
Well, it's a fun, road documentary. If you want to know what life was like in Madonna's touring company in the 90s.
So, I think we should wrap it up there. This is a bit of a longer mini episode, but yeah.
We're kind of looking at the year in review, and terrible movies that we thought were going to be good.
Maybe in the next mini episode we'll talk about movies yet to come and make our predictions about which ones will be good and which ones will be bad.
Oh, there you go.
So this has been another mini episode, and it's time for the big reveal. So the hint was, I miss Cheers. Here is the trailer for our next movie.
Phyllis Neffler's life was a symphony of spending.
This one. Out. I'll take the rest. I started my new meaningful life today. And I bought a whole new meaningful wardrobe to go with it.
Until her husband stopped the music.
You never give me an ounce of credit for anything I do.
That's because you never do anything.
Well, then I guess I'm going to do something right now.
Approve.
Mom's gonna be our new troop leader.
Who are you? Phyllis Neffler. Troop Beverly Hills.
Now she's changing her style.
Well, girls, are you ready to rough it?
From Rodeo Drive
I can't let you take the girls out there alone. Why not?
Because you get lost in your walk-in closet.
to Cookie Drives.
That jamboree thing sounds fabulous. My troop is definitely going. What is a jamboree?
From room
Is
service
this what you call roughing it? One bathroom for 9 people? Yes.
to public service.
Today I am here to demonstrate for you CPR. Lie down and open your mouth.
Last time I did this, I got more than a patch for it.
And from high society
Do you like people to call you dictator or just Dick?
to high adventure.
I'm sure it's very nice to know how to live in the forest and eat bark. You can prance these little princesses through Beverly Hills all you want. But you will never really be a real wilderness girl. We'll be fine. We're Troop Beverly Hills.
Shelley Long,
What an adventure. Isn't nature fabulous, girls?
Troop Beverly Hills. She's not a babe in the woods.
You just quit now.
Not until we sing Kumbaya.
That's right. She's a fish out of water.
God.
She's commanding a Girl Scouts. And gosh darn it, she's also a Beverly Hills housewife.
Infinitely better than Postal.
Yes, but how much better? Only time will tell.
Yes. It's been a while since I've seen it, so...
I have never seen it.
Oh.
So I'm looking forward to
it was
this.
kind of a thing back in like the late 80s, early 90s, whenever it came out. Fuck, I can't even remember.
89, I think.
89? Okay. Because a lot of girls in my classes at the time, because I was still in school, they watched this like a lot, like because they'd had their sleepovers, and a lot of them were in like Girl Scouts or Girl Guides, and was right up their alley. So a lot of them had seen it. So it was one of those things where it's like, well, everyone's talking about it. I guess I should see it.
Do you remember your opinion of it?
I just remember being like, it's it's a girls' comedy movie. I mean, I didn't care one way or the other. I wasn't like, that's fucking terrible and horrible because, girls and bleh.
I can't wait to see how this thing ages.
Not well, I'm guessing.
Bold prediction.
Talking about Girl Guides, a Girl Guide troupe set in Beverly Hills in the late 80s.
Yeah.
What could go wrong?
Starring Shelley Long, Betty Thomas, Mary Gross, a bunch of other people.
Okay.
Carla Gugino.
Gugino! What could movie with Gugino?
I thought you didn't like her anymore.
Oh, no, it's okay. If we found out that that was large penis woman doing Carla Gugino impression.
Milosh, that was not Gugino?
No, it was not. It was the large penis lady, Mariah.
Oh, I love the Carla Gugino. She coming back.
Yes, Carla Gugino movie, Troop Beverly Hills.
Oh, we will be here.
You know it.
High five. All right, get out of here.
Beat it, you two. Leave my shoes alone.
I thought we were rid of them.
Well, I don't know who peeled back the kayfabe curtain on Mariah doing that impression for us.
I know. Wait, does that mean we have a rat in the organization?
We must.
This is going to be a season-long mystery.
Dun, 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 dun.
But anyway, that's coming up next week. Troop Beverly Hills. So check that out. I'm sure you can find it somewhere.
You'll probably hear more joy in our voices than you did in the last episode.
100% guaranteed. Unless that movie is just there to make fun of people in wheelchairs and people of skin other than white. And guaranteed.
Yes.
So that'll do it. I guess, would you like to talk about Montrose and where you can find him?
Yep. YouTube, Montrose Monkington TV, all kinds of stuff there, mostly wrestling. There's a few sketches, some good stuff where he went hunting. Maybe we'll get some new stuff happening this year. It was a weird end of 2018 for us there at Montrose Monkington TV. We didn't get to put out as much scripted original stuff as we had hoped, but hopefully more in the coming year. You can also check us out, or him out, on Facebook, Montrose Monkington III Esquire and Friends. You can also follow him on Twitter at Montrose III, that's the number 3RD. Thank you, more later.
Okay. And as for us, you can follow our podcast on Twitter and Instagram at WWTT Podcast. Find us on Facebook. Just search What Were They Thinking? What Were They Thinking Interactive is our Facebook group where you can talk to us and give us shit and tell us about how much you love Postal. You can also go to patreon.com/WWTT Podcast if you'd like to become a patron and get things like, like we do in the last few episodes. You can pick movies. You can be a guest. You can get something advertised on here if you want. There's a lot of different things you can do, and we appreciate every little bit you can do to help. Which is awesome. Again, thank you to all of our patrons who've given us the last few movies. Brain Scan included, because that was the first Patreon pick we did.
Yes. Big thanks for that one.
Yeah, that one was fun. So, that being said, I guess I'm not done plugging. We're also on all the podcatchers, iTunes / Apple Podcasts. Of course, our home base is Podbean, Spotify, Stitcher, all that stuff. We're on the Redbubble, redbubble.com. Just search What Were They Thinking. I think that covers it.
I think that's it, yeah.
I also have another podcast for Screen and Country, which you can check out. We just did an episode on The Full Monty, and our next one is My Left Foot, so check that out.
I remember when that was like an award darling the year it came out.
Yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis, man.
Yeah.
So, that's going to do it. Do you, could you possibly have any questions at the end of this thing?
Well, maybe my questions are more for 2018 as an entity. 2018, all the political stuff aside, we're just going to keep it to the movies. You put out a movie called Happy Death Day. You put out another movie called Truth or Dare with very little sexiness in it whatsoever. That's exactly what that game is designed for. And then you take easily one of the most widely known creepy pastas and turn it into a lackluster pile of crap movie. And you turn around and you make stuff like God's Not Dead 3.
Yeah.
And 2018, I gotta know. What were you thinking?
We're happy to have you with us this evening and want you to enjoy every minute of your stay here.
Listen to me. Please listen. If you don't, if you won't, if you fail to understand, then the same incredible terror that's menacing me will strike at you!
Are you ready to enter the Sci-Fi Double Feature Drive-In? Every month we hold a special double feature with a very interesting theme thought up by your host, the conspiracy-loving Elisa, and yours truly, Jarrett the Kaiju Man Wegelin. We discuss giant monsters, little monsters, genetic abominations, robots gone awry, aliens coming to Earth, cryptids, and anything in between. So join us at the Sci-Fi Double Feature Drive-In podcast every first and third Thursday of the month. And don't forget to stop by our snack bar first.
Hi everyone, I'm Ashley.
And I'm Justine. And we make up the Cutaways podcast.
We're watching the good, the bad, and the essentials of the romantic comedy genre.
So far, we've fallen in love with Cary Grant, met up with our terrible friend, Pal Joey, and had the desire to run our fingers through Patrick Dempsey's hair.
Join our slumber party for your ears every other week, brought to you in stereo from our blanket fort in Hollywood, California.
You can find and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or your favorite podcatcher. Our digital blanket fort can be found at thecutaways.com.
If you are the social butterfly types, you can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as @Cutaways Podcast.
Bye!